Musashi is honestly one of the chillest and most smiley characters in the Fate series. It's hard to even imagine her getting mad. But when she confronts Caster Limbo, she actually lists 3 things that can really piss her off. Now, the first 2 are make sense. She hates one-sided slaughter like soldiers killing innocent people. And she can't stand when someone mocks or tramples on people's beliefs just for fun. And yeah, both of those buttons definitely get pushed during Shimosa. But then the third one is someone stealing her food when she's hungry. Yes, this beautiful hobo samurai gets mad if you touch her meal. I mean, I guess it's fair, right? I'd be mad too if someone interrupted me during lunch. But knowing Musashi, her version of angry can literally mean challenging someone to a deathmatch, or maybe even swinging her sword first and asking questions later. That's scary. Also, let's be honest, the contrast between don't kill innocents and don't touch my udon is so frickin' wide. You know what? It totally gives off the same energy as that old meme about King Ghidorah, where 2 heads are super serious and the third one is just goofy. You see, as someone who watches a lot of anime and reads manga, I've seen this kind of thing a lot. Characters who are usually chill or polite suddenly lose their minds over one specific insult or situation. Like, you know how in JoJo Part 4, Josuke is super respectful and calm until someone talks trash about his hair. Dude completely snaps. He even punches Jotaro, his own relative. If Jotaro didn't have time stop powers, he'd be wrecked. Or take Haganazuka from Demon Slayer. He's chill until Tanjiro breaks a sword, then he turns into a whole menace. Anyway, that brings me to what I wanted to talk about today. Some Fate characters have really weird or silly anger triggers, and I love that. It's one of those little character quirks that's so fun to dig into. Now, since Fate has a massive cast, I'll just talk about the ones I think are the most ridiculous. Now, still talking about Saber, let's move on to another Big Smile Saber class character. Roland, one of the 12 paladins of Charlemagne. This guy is your classic cheerful knight and super energetic. He's like he stepped straight out of an old chivalric romance story that you read in a book about knights. But even though he is like this, he's actually got a very specific anger issue. Before he was a heroic spirit, Roland legit went insane because the love of his life, Angelica, rejected him and married someone else. This was actually mentioned in the epic poem called Orlando Furioso by Ludovico Ariosto. And guess what? That heartbreak trauma got carried over into his spirit origin. Basically, Roland falls in love way too fast and can't handle rejection. Now, to be fair, that's kinda relatable. Getting rejected hurts. I personally haven't experienced that level of pain, but let's just say the internet and certain wild dojins are full of guys who definitely have. But for Roland, it's more than just emotional damage. His anger trigger is actually carved into his skills. He has a skill called Bitter Tears from a Love of Love, and it's literally a type of mad enhancement. Yup, this is that one skill that makes berserkers go berserk. And this guy has it just because he can't handle rejection from a woman. Gameplay-wise, it's kinda cool. He gets a 3-turn Buster buff, clears his own debuffs, and wipes enemy buffs. But it also lowers his charm resistance by 50%, all because he can't handle a simple no. Honestly, that's one of the most unique berserk buttons I've ever seen. Who knew love rejection could literally turn someone into a boss fight? But honestly, getting mad over being rejected is nothing compared to getting mad when someone calls you old, or even mentions anything age-related. At least in this case, that's one of Skaha's angry triggers. Now wait a minute, you might be thinking, oh, that's not new. A lot of people get mad if you call them old. And to be fair, yeah, it's kind of a running joke that women hate being called old. Even Frances Drake flips out when Blackbeard calls her old. So it's not just a Skaha thing. But the thing with Skaha is, it's extra hilarious because her age is literally a major part of her lore, her Type Moon lore. She's immortal. Like, this woman has been alive for centuries. And that's one of the most interesting things about her. besides being Ku Kulain's teacher and a godslayer that we never actually see in action. So if someone knows her origin, there's a good chance they'll bring up her past life. Well, you don't have to look far to find an example. We clearly see how sensitive she is about it when her own student, Caster Ku Kulain, accidentally pushes that button. In one of his updated voice lines, she calls him out for not using runes the way she taught him, and he casually claps back with, "Have you finally gone senile?" Now that was a big mistake. What does she do? She immediately tries to dropkick her gaybolg into him, her actual legendary god-killing spear. Bro, that was her student. Imagine what she'd do to a random stranger who says the same thing. But to be fair, if you didn't know her legend, she really does look like a young woman. Too bad mentioning her real age is basically signing your own death certificate. Next up is an anger trigger you probably can't relate to. So far, we've talked about stuff like Musashi getting mad when the strong bully the weak, Roland going berserk after getting rejected by a girl he likes, or Skaha flipping out when someone calls her old. All of those are kinda relatable. There's a twist to each one that makes them somewhat weird, but at their core, we get the emotion. But with Medusa, her case is a bit different. Medusa is a tall, beautiful woman with, let's just say, very generous proportions. And she has a calm, quiet personality. But the thing is, this is exactly what triggers her anger. Well, not exactly a switch for her rage, but she actually hates her own body. To her, the ideal of beauty is being small and cute like her sisters. She thinks her tall, mature appearance is ugly and is extremely insecure about it. She has a full-on complex about her adult figure. Heck, even her wish for the Holy Grail isn't anything grand like becoming a ruler or gaining power. She just wants to be shorter. That's it. Her anger trigger gets set off whenever someone points out or exaggerates her body. You can really see this in her interlude. A group of soldiers flirts with her, complimenting how sexy she looks and asking her to hang out. At first, she doesn't even realize they're talking to her. I think it's because she doesn't want to be seen that way by a lot of people. Once she figures it out, she rejects them. She doesn't look angry, but her words are harsh for a bunch of guys who were just flirting and complimenting her. The soldiers, of course, don't take it well and try to attack her. Naturally, she beats them down easily. Then their boss shows up, and the soldiers start whining about how she's a giant woman with crazy strength and how no one would want to date someone that tall. And at that exact moment, her eye starts twitching. She turns to Fujimaru and says she wants to go all out. Again, she claims she's not mad and that her mystic eyes are just aching. But let's be real, she was livid. See, most people would probably feel over the moon if someone called them tall or sexy, but not Medusa. I mean, yeah, the soldiers went overboard and even called her a giant, but still, yeah, this is one of the most unique anger triggers. This is the complete opposite of Castor Artoria, who really hates being called short or small. That's actually one of the reasons she doesn't really get along with Barghest, who often ends up making accidental, kinda insensitive comments about her tiny body, even if she doesn't mean any harm. Still, even though Castoria argues with her a lot and acts like she's annoyed, she does keep stopping by Barghest's room to eat. Yeah, that was super cute, but you know what else is adorable? How little Da Vinci has a surprisingly strong anger trigger when someone copies her work. You see, she seriously cannot stand cheap knockoff versions of her inventions. We see this clearly in Lost Belt 3, when she finds out Qin Shi Huang's forces made a rip-off version of the Shadow Border. Not only that, they gave it the name Duo Yi Shan's and sent it to attack our team. At first, Da Vinci is just kinda annoyed. She's not impressed, calls it garbage, and says she personally feels responsible for turning that bootleg machine into scrap metal. I guess it's still in the realm of pretty calm, at least for now. But the real rage shows up when she realizes they didn't just make one copy. They mass-produced the Shadow Border imitation. That's when she absolutely loses it. In the middle of the field, she starts yelling for someone to bring out an anti-world noble phantasm. You hear that right? Anti-world noble phantasm. If you're still not getting it, just remember Gilgamesh's noble phantasm, the one where he rips reality apart with the sword of rupture, rupturing the enemy, rupturing reality, rupturing your eardrums. That is an anti-world noble phantasm. So essentially, she's calling for world-ending firepower just to blow up some bootleg Roombas on wheels. That's how pissed she is. And it doesn't stop there. After the fight, she demands that everyone gather all the leftover scraps from the destroyed Duo machines so she can analyze it, hoping to beat them at their own game. Now that I think about it, I guess this is one of those rare moments where we see Da Vinci this fired up, and it's all because someone dared to rip off her genius work. Next up, let's talk about our calm, kind-hearted saint with a dragon pet, Martha. Now okay, calm might be pushing it. We all know Martha's got a bit of a temper, especially when she's tired. She kinda goes from saint to street fighter real quick. But even knowing how easily she snaps, she still has one of the most random anger triggers in Fate. So here's the thing with her. Ghosts and demons really piss her off. In her second interlude, the moment those things show up, she just loses it. She refuses to calm down until every last one of them is gone. Now okay, she is a saint, so hating demons is somewhat expected, right? That's kinda fine. I mean, you don't need to be a saint to hate ghosts, demons, or the devil in general. But what makes Martha's case funny is how extreme her trigger is. Because apparently Martha doesn't just get mad at actual demons, she gets mad at anything that even looks like one. No, I'm not joking, it's written in her profile material that she seriously wanted to punch Mephistopheles just because he looks like a devil. Not because he did anything, not because he said anything, just his face. This becomes absolutely hilarious if you look at it from Mephi's perspective. Like imagine this, you're just walking down the hall, and this soft-spoken woman, a saint, suddenly glares at you for no reason. You're eating in the cafeteria, and the saint is giving you death stares from across the room, ready to fling a fork straight at your face. You're sitting alone in peace, and out of nowhere, a saint charges at you with no words, fist cocked back, about to deck you across the room. I mean, sure, Mephisto is kinda shady. He does some weird stuff. But still, Martha's rage toward anything that resembles a demon is so random it's kind of funny. Now this last one is honestly the weirdest anger trigger for me, Kiyohime. So as we all know from her legend, Kiyohime was someone who was betrayed by the person she loved. Combine that with her being a berserker, and yeah, she really doesn't like being lied to. Now getting mad over lies isn't exactly weird. I mean, if you lie to your partner and they find out, of course there's gonna be drama. So for Kiyohime, it kinda makes sense. A romance-driven berserker getting pissed when lied to. But here's where it gets wild. It's not the reason she gets mad that's weird. It's what she actually does when she gets mad. According to her materials, if her master lies to her, even after she told them not to, she'll automatically consume a command seal. Yes, she can steal your command seal if she knows that you're lying. See, that's frickin' terrifying. Like, this might be the first time we see a servant in the Fate universe do something this intense purely out of rage. Well, we can imagine a scenario in a Holy Grail war with this case. So, basically, if her master gets caught lying, your command seal is gone. If you lose all of them, you're probably no longer a master, meaning you either get killed by another servant or burned by her. Remember, she is a berserker, and even if she can still talk, she is easily angered. And if Kiyohime doesn't calm down or find a new master, she might just go full berserk until all the magic from the seals is drained. I honestly can't imagine the chaos that would happen, all from telling one little lie. What do you guys think? What other anger triggers do you think are weirdly unique to these characters? Click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.